The Lord be with you.
And with yours.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
There was a scholar of the law who stood up to test Jesus and said, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read it?" He said in reply, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." He replied to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this and you will live." But because he wished to justify himself, he said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man fell victim to robbers as he went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. They stripped and beat him and went off, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the road. When he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. Likewise, a Levite came to the place, and when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. But a Samaritan traveler who came up him was moved with compassion at the sight. He approached the victim, poured oil and wine over his wounds, and bandaged them. Then he lifted him up on his own animal, took him to an inn, and cared for him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper with this instruction: "Take care of him. If you spend more than what I have given you, I shall repay you on my way back." Which of these three, in your opinion, was neighbor to the robber's victim? He answered, "The one who treated him with mercy." Jesus says to him, "Go and do likewise." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. If we do obey one by one the 10 Commandments and reflect how many problems, worries, and tears we will be able to avoid, because we know that sometimes there are faults that remain forever, and those who pay with worries and anger and stress are the parents and grandparents of a young man and woman who declared to each other love, and before they got married, she got pregnant. And that's a worry for the parents, and for them especially. This is only one. But if, for example, we take the commandments one by one, love your God with all your heart, with all your strength, well, you know, and love your neighbor as yourself. And today we see who is the neighbor. Over here, we see, "Who is my neighbor?" He replied to him, he told him. He knew exactly the answer. And Jesus then said to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. And I will live without stress, happy, peaceful, wherever I go, if I put in practice what the Lord asks from me." And in the second, when he asked, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus said, "A man fell victim to robbers as he went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. They stripped and beat him and went off, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down that road, but when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. Likewise, a Levite came to the place, and when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side." I remember here, I can't remember when, I was giving importance to the celebration of the Eucharist with devotion, and that's how we are supposed to do. Here it says, the Levite and the priest gave importance to their duty, but they forgot that there was someone who needed help. And I remember while celebrating Mass, there was a man at the back, and he felt. And everybody was excited, afraid, they didn't know what to do. They called the ambulance, and I had to stop. In conscience, I felt that I had to stop. Why? Because he is my brother. I am the priest functioning. But then one of the parishioners, one of my brothers, got sick and felt. Then they took him, and we continued. Now, we cannot judge the priest and the Levite, because if they touched a dead body, then they will not be able to function. In those days, in Jericho, there were 20,000 priests. Jericho was famous and used to go to Jerusalem to incense. There were priests that never in life had the opportunity at least to incense only once, because there were so many. And they used to function with lots, like Zechariah, as the Gospel of Luke says. Now here it says, a Samaritan traveler who came upon him was moved with compassion at the sight. Now we have to remember, the Samaritans and the Jews were against each other for 100 years. They hated each other. But this man felt compassion. And that's the most important thing for us, to feel compassion. It is so easy to say the rosary and to read or watch a movie of a saint. But then where is your love in practice? Someone needs you now. So leave the TV, the computer, the cell phone, your friend, food, whatever, and help that needy person. Now over here we see, what did he do? He put oil on his wounds and he took him to a hotel. And then probably he was known because he said to the owner, well, if I owe you more, when I return back, I will pay you. So he knew him. Probably very often he was at his hotel. And here, take care of him. Am I taking care of my mother and father, old? Do I give importance to that old woman that now cannot move, who gave me life and a place to protect me from the hot or cold weather, giving me food, washing my clothes, educating me and the rest, and now abandoned in a nursing home? I went into a nursing home, and the lady said to me, she had no legs. She said, Father, I bless my daughter. Every day after work, she comes to feed me, put me in bed, and then she returns back to cook and fulfill with her duty obligations as a wife and as a mother. And months after, she died. They were 7, but she was the only one for her mother. The other 6, they had no time at all. And I said to her, I really congratulate you. And on the funeral day of her mother, I mentioned her name and I said in the name of your mother, I thank you from my heart for all that you have done with her, because she told me, she herself, the sacrifices for years. And that's how we are supposed to behave, not only with the old people, with all those who need our help.